Hey everyone, this is Mike, and I'm here with Isaac,
Hey,
and we're here to talk about some video games. More specifically, we're here to talk about EVO, which is one of the most prestigious gaming events of the year, or at least it used to be, considering that some things have changed over the course of a few days that has the community, or at least the fighting game community, completely up in arms. Well, at least half of them are up in arms with the current news that NODWIN Gaming has fully acquired EVO, as well as a joint venture from a group named Kadia has fully acquired the operating group for EVO, which is RTS, a group that was co-founded by streamer Pokemon, very popular female streamer on Twitch. And yeah, people have been completely up in arms, about what direction to go with this whole thing. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. But before we do, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Now, basically, just getting from the start of it with the article from Eurogamer, Saudi Arabian takeover of fighting games is the biggest tournament. Means the players have to make a wider choice in the community. They have to choose between either maintaining its culture or getting a bigger payout. Now, there's really a lot to unpack here, but I'd like to pass this over to Isaac.
yeah, no, and basically stating off from that title alone, anybody that knows about EVO, again, is one of the biggest fighting game tournaments right now on the planet that was formed by grassroots efforts,
Mm-hmm.
by the local scene, underground scene, and everybody
Wasn't
knows.
it called like Battle by the Bay or something like that
Something like
originally?
that back in the
Yeah.
day, yes. Back in like what in the 90s, I believe, 90s, early 2000s. I want to believe it was called by that. Um, but then again, as soon as
Yep.
it
Yeah, it was
moved,
correct. Battle by the Bay.
it evolved. It evolved into something special. Evolved into something big that everybody known as Evo at the time, and you know, but with things growing as they do, unfortunately, companies do come calling around. Sponsorships do want to be a part of the scene to be able to have their brands and products learn, and eventually as time moves on, it eventually starts moving away from something it wasn't, and then it eventually starts becoming something more corporate down the road. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not going to sit here and say that everything about these moves are bad. Again, on one
No.
at the end of the day, too, like you said, there is an opportunity for bigger payouts for a lot of these tournament people that want to be able to participate. So there'll be a lot more money to go around. Sponsorships usually at these events are always good. You know what I mean, and by doing that, hopefully it allows other fighters, other players of these games to come practice it and be able to participate. And hopefully there's a lot more money to go around for more of these tournaments, especially for the big ones, as well for a lot of the smaller ones too. Because I think a lot of things that don't really get mentioned when you go to Evo, there are a lot more smaller tournaments on the bottom end
Yeah, it's
too
true.
that the money does get trickled down to. Granted, not a lot, but at least there's something that's given for everybody that participates at Evil's events as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just the big main three. That also being said, you do lose that ability of grassroots efforts right now. It does lose a bit of people are worried about its integrity being lost when you're dealing with anything involving with corporate America, and especially that along with
Well,
Saudi America,
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. I meant to say
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, not Saudi
Saudi
America.
America.
At this point, let's just combine both corporate entities together. But um, you do worry about where the money is going. And I understand that in terms of gamers, I believe a lot of the gamers do have ethical issues and moral issues with these kind of
Mm-hmm.
partnerships that are moving on. Again, along figuring the integrity. I understand that Sonic Fox being one of the more bigger names of the game, stressed about the worry about LGBTQ representation moving into these games. Other people do worry about other grassroots games being heard and moving forward in terms of how things are being project. So yeah, there is a little bit of concern right now in the fighting game community and how EVO is being viewed at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, as it stands, like a lot of people are worried about all these like ethical reasons and stuff like that. But the issue here is that like people keep saying that like Evo or just the fighting game community in general is losing its identity. But here's the thing, especially when it comes to Evo, like it already like lost its identity the moment that it was that Sony bought it many years ago and basically limited what kind of games can actually show up at the event, at least on main stage. And so it's like there was already the business side already snuck in at that point, and the community kind of let it sneak in because for the longest time the community wanted the fighting games to be treated more seriously. They wanted bigger payouts because like it's not a game where you can earn a lot. That's not like a genre of game that you can earn money compared to something like say like League of Legends or Dota or Valorant or Counter Strike 2 or even Call of Duty
Or Fortnite.
or and Fortnite. Yeah. I got you. It's just like yeah, the amount of money you make winning tournaments and playing fighting games is pretty much abysmal. And even lower than that, you have Smash. That's even worse. That can be considered even worse than that. But that's a different topic. But still, like, it's the problem is that the community wants to have its cake and eat it as well, and you have to make a choice. And basically, a lot of people have been pushing for the more money side of things, the more corporate side of things overall, like compared to the people who desperately want to hold on to the culture and like sadly, it's not how things work. Like these things cost money, man. These things require a lot of effort from a lot of people to in order to get these tournaments to win. Even like smaller, like major tournaments, it require a lot of efforts. And like Evo is like a super major tournament. While it didn't have
grew into a major tournament.
Yes, it's a super. It grew into a super major, and even though it didn't have like the most like biggest payouts, it had the most prestige. But then now again on the business side of things, you have now multiple Evos. Like you have Evo Japan, I believe you have Evo France,
which is kicking and which will be kicking off actually in October this year.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
and in
so
Singapore, I think just also got announced as well.
Yeah, I believe so. So and then like it's now you don't have this like this just like this it's Evo's no longer as special as it used to be because you have multiple versions of Evo that you compete in. Exactly, it's diluted. It's because when you look at Evo, it's basically seen as the Super Bowl for fighting games.
Oh yes.
Like it is the big event. It's the one that that so many people tune into, and yeah, but again, just like the payouts are just not there to justify the money is not there to justify all this attention that it's getting, and they're wanting in the business side of things they wanted to change that. So basically, trying to get someone to buy and support it is what needed to happen.
So I guess I'll ask you a question too. So where are you at the end between this? Are you comfortable with the fact that Evo is heading down? I know no one's against corporate ownership though, but are you comfortable knowing that at least people that do participate in Evo will be getting compensated, better compensation moving forward? Are you for that? Are you more for the old school ground roots community? Granted, nobody's getting any big pay though, but I guess people are getting notoriety from it. But again, people that want to be in this community hopefully want to be able to make this as a basic living moving forward. So
yeah,
there's a trade-off. Where are you on the side of the fence in this?
I mean, I would honestly say, I kind of lean more towards the corporate side at this point. If it was more like a smaller community, a more like niche community, which then yeah, I would be on that side. But it's very clear that like fighting games, at least the people, the developers, companies that make these fighting games themselves don't want these games to stay niche. They want it to be as appealing as possible because you know you also got like
They want to be very casual.
exactly you want to be casual and then in fact like Capcom basically like started off with like Street Fighter Five, how when that game first introduced was an actual very casual, didn't have a lot to cater to the competitive community at all. Obviously they grew on and built on that, but it was very clear that they didn't really want to go all in. Like
Well,
now they want to go all in with
it's
the.
it's difficult. Like again, we always talk about how niche the fighting game community is right now, and the fact that you want to try to build it so much to the point where yeah, and not only just uh Street Fighter and Capcom, but almost every other fighting game has kind of gone this path of almost trying to dumb down control, and that's why the rise of modern day controls for a lot of fighting games to
Mm-hmm.
basically break the barrier of entry to a lot of these games because I know we're OGs though, but doing a lot of those mechanical movements can be a little bit
I mean,
it
that
could be it could
I get it. You know what you're
it
gonna say.
could
It could be
be a little bit
daunting, but
frustrating
it's.
to be able to hit a lot of those moves, even for OG of myself. Like I sometimes really
Um,
struggle with some of those moves.
like
To
motion,
to
like
me,
inputs aren't that bad to
I don't
learn. Like
know. I'm not saying that motion inputs are bad. Motion
no,
inputs are not bad though, but I also could see the idea of trying to allow people to be able to get in, to be able to play these games. Unless it seems like you're against the modern day controls of how that all
I
set up.
mean I'm okay with the
Rather
modern day
going
control.
off script. I'm just
I'm okay with modern day controls within reason. I feel like games like DNF Duel did it best, where you have the quote unquote modern controls, but you still can do motions, and you're rewarded for doing motion inputs.
mm,
So both sides have a little bit of something. So the casuals aren't left out, and the people who grew up and actually know how to throw a freaking fireball are rewarded doing so. But this whole thing with just like all like motion, it's just like it's obviously I can get used to it, but I still feel like iffy about it because then you have to compensate by making combo windows very tight. I kind of don't like that.
I mean, I'm not against motion controllers too, because like you said, if motion controllers are the entry to fighting games, hopefully from that you go to classic where you learn the actual inputs, and again you're
Mm-hmm.
rewarded on maybe doing better damage with those inputs. That being said, going back to our original topic in terms of Evo, um, I would also I I know I gave you the luxury of choosing to be inside of it. It's difficult for me because of me growing up and watching this scene grow the way it does. It does unfortunately lose a bit of its charm, and it does lose, that essence of organic movement, that grassroots movement that just feels unique and organic. However, people gotta eat, man. People gotta support their
Like
families. People
yeah,
have to be able to
exactly.
support their way of living, and
Mm-hmm.
on top of them also, streaming these fighting games too, because it is interest. It's a delicate ecosystem. It's a synergy ecosystem
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the the companies that make the games, the fighters that play it slash promote the games on their Twitch, and them hence all go into the main game as a big fighting tournament where
Mm-hmm.
all that constitutes together. It's a big synergy pull that all has to sit down and work together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether you feel your politics in terms of Saudi Arabia and them being bought by that, that is a completely different situation. We could sit here and name every not good thing that Saudi Arabia has done at the
I
moment, though.
mean, you
It,
could you could
there's a
yeah.
list that can go down. We can go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But that honestly being said, um, in order for everybody to kind of benefit from that, unfortunately, you have to make these moves that yeah, I just don't know unless now. unless people are anti against this, start a new fighting game tournament
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Just
That's what people are
go back to
saying
the
is.
back to old school.
Yeah, that's what people already saying that like, oh, like I'm boycotting Evo, support your locals, which is a good thing. Yeah, you should always support your locals. But I feel like I'm just gonna straight up say it. I know I'm not gonna win like favors for saying this, but I feel like a lot of their outrage is almost entirely performative. Like
So
like
before, I'm
like
finished. Please,
because like I was about to say the like listen, yeah, like you said, like yeah, obviously Saudi Arabian like values like conflict with American values and whatnot, but like you can from an entertainment standpoint, you can completely ignore that and still enjoy evil for what it is. It's not like they're going is like are like because I want to ask these people they're upset about this. Are they because of this whole like buyout? Is Saudi Arabia now going to make all the female attendees wear burqas? Are they going to make all the male contestants read the Quran before each match? Are they going to throw Sonic Fox off the building for being gay?
No,
Like no.
but it goes to like products too. But like you said, it just simply goes to products because people want to be mostly people want to feel like when you're buying a product or you want to be supporting something, they want to feel like they're supporting something morally and ethical, which is always the fighting points in any kind of consumer buyout.
Oh, I'm
No
just gonna.
matter whatever the situation is, it's no different than trying to buy a product right now at the moment. As much now, we could say that's very hypocritical.
It
I
is.
honestly
And it
sit
is. I'm
down, but
sorry. It
at the
is.
end of the day, the product that still matters in the base of things right now. People still will boycott things if they feel like it's unjust right now in product. Again, I don't know we're getting that same feel now in terms of Evo as a product. I don't know if that's the thing right now. Again, it seems like they're moving on from it. But before I go into that, I just want to kind of read a couple of the quotes from certain
All
people
right.
that are kind
All
of
right.
bash from it right now. So right now, Stevens speed kicks Stanford for former Technopro voice his discomfort with the government back in events slated to focus on community-run tournaments instead. We had let me see, my phone, doesn't my phone hates me. My phone really hates me at the moment right now in terms of that. I think I was only able to read one of them. I apologize for that. But even Chris CCH Hancock, a professional Street Fighter player, described the news as unfortunate, especially concerns about LGBTQ plus members and rely on the funding that might be very slam. A well-known commentator laminated the shriek in spaces of grassroots voices. It feels like if the pieces that belong to fighting game fans are shrieking all the time. I mentioned that. Also, and then earlier in the podcast, I also mentioned Sonic Fox's ability about it being one of the biggest, loudest voices in the commentary. So, and then other than that, you also have manager Rick Athadu Thayer reiterated the event's core values, particularly inclusivity, community, and connectivity, the way you just explained through. He didn't directly address the Saudi involvement. So again, which is, that's the business talk of sides. Like he has the right both straddles to the fence because he is one of the managers that runs the event. So, it,
Okay. Can before I was about to say something because like let's just make one thing clear. Like there's no such thing as quote unquote like ethical when it comes to like capitalism because like again I hate to get political but it needs to be said because the people who complain about this want to get political. It's just that like there's no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism because like you're like no matter what you buy you're directly or indirectly funding something that's considered like moral or goes against your ethics. Like we could all say that like slavery is bad, yet we all walk around with smartphones that were probably made in a sweatshop somewhere. We can all say that driving around in electric vehicles is a good thing, even though that the batteries are made with cobalt that was mined in the Congo by children. And we could also say that just like like we have to support ethical companies. Like we should go play something else. Like I don't know, like 2XKO by Riot Games, which is owned by Tencent, which is connected to the Chinese government, which has an even bigger history of human rights violations compared to Saudi Arabia. So is everybody going to start boycotting 2XKO now? Oh, don't forget that SNK is also owned by a company in Saudi Arabia. I didn't see anyone protesting the new Fatal Fury game. So what? So what are we all doing here, people? Y'all want to be selective with your outrage, but just because one of your precious tournament has been taken, now you want to get mad? It's like, come on. If you're gonna stand for, if you're gonna be stand for something, make sure you don't you actually stand for something instead of being performative about it, because that's what a lot of people are doing, man. And again, I know people are gonna hate me for saying that, but it's the goddamn truth. You can hate me, you can say that I'm a bigot, sexist, but you can't say that I'm wrong.
You're wrong. That being said, but what? So we're going to pass it actually back to the comment, folks. What do you think about the whole situation with EVO at the moment? Do you think these moves are right? Do you feel that it is important? Where do you stand in terms of the whole situation? Do you feel that it isn't? Do you feel like these companies that are entering into the space is good for the growth of the business? Or do you feel like it needs to retain some of its grassroots areas to be very organic? We would definitely like to know your comments down below. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you don't agree with any of the things that we said, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.
You said that twice.
I know.
You should let me handle the outro.
Well, this is my first time doing that. This is Isaac, and this is my brother Mike, and we're saying peace.
Take care.